Hello and good morning to the morning show. Indeed. You know, I had a crazy weekend, so that's why my voice is so low and like everything's just kind of.
Wait, were you? Oh, you were. I remember what you were.
Yeah,
doing.
so it's
like you usually only do that if you're out partying or.
I was talking a lot.
Yes, you were.
So I mean, yeah, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is like I was a gab fest.
So the throaty fellow right here is Marshall Shore.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I have Marshall Shore, and this is
Melissa Farley, and we're here at
the fabulous Arizona Center.
That's right. And we are so glad you are joining us today. We've got a great guest here for you that chances are you might recognize her. I think that's totally possible. So we're excited to have her on the show today. And are we doing it, Marshall?
Oh, we are. You already. Oh, the way you looked at it with such disdain.
I did. I like glared at it. You didn't even see me though. How did you know I was glaring?
There's a monitor right there.
You're not supposed to look at yourself the whole time.
No,
no.
I was looking at the camera and then I saw you just kind of like this glare.
You felt it.
I was like, ah!
I know.
All right, but exactly. Get out that frustration. All right. My eye.
You've got glasses on. You're fine.
All right. So our word of the day is inculcate. To teach and impress by frequent repetitions. The summer program inculcates a strong work ethic and teamwork among teens.
Okay, not horrible, but boring.
Yeah, that they need some. You know, over the weekend we were talking. We should just do our own word of the day calendar with better words and better sentences
and visuals.
Depending on the word.
Who doesn't want pictures with the word of the day?
Well, that is. I mean, I love children's dictionaries, the books that have like the little photos.
Well, I know.
Especially the ones from like the 50s when
just
it's like.
What you need, another project.
I know, but like the word refrigerator. I mean, for R, you have that beautiful rounded with all the chrome on it, the big handle.
Okay, we're not making a refrigerator. We're making a word of the day calendar. Stay on top.
But you need a picture.
Yes.
So if the word is refrigerator, you got to have a picture of a refrigerator.
Okay, well, one of my husbands is a photographer, so luckily we can figure that out. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. What? You wore off on me.
See, there you go. It's all that, my waddle.
I don't have a waddle.
No, it's my waddle.
All right.
I don't know.
I guess when we spend this much time together, this is what happens. All right, we are going to take a break. We'll be right back after this to introduce you to our guests, so keep it right here.
Good morning and welcome back to the morning show. I am Marshall Shore.
And I'm Melissa Farley. We're here at the fabulous Arizona Center. And look who we've got here with us, Marshall.
Indeed. Camera. That three-person camera. Come on, please. There we go.
So we've got Julie here. Hi, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on this morning.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us.
Of course.
So you are kind of like just accomplished in all things. You're an influencer. You do fitness. You do real estate. So I know the word influencer is kind of loaded right now, but tell me about that. How did you become an influencer?
It's kind of a dirty word at this point.
I know, right?
People are like, what do you do? I'm like, I'm an influencer. I didn't start off wanting to be a quote unquote influencer. I really love doing interviews and being on stage and talking and educating. And so that's really how it started, was me interviewing different businesses, local businesses here in Scottsdale, which turned into, hey, can you promote this product? But the only things that I do are things that I truly believe in and love.
Right.
And I've been doing it for so long. I've been in the Valley my entire life.
Yeah.
In the fitness business, in beauty, in fashion, worked at Neiman Marcus as a stylist, was repping a beauty line, traveling all over the country, went on QVC, was speaking at Nordstrom trend shows on the stage, talking, promoting things that I love. And it kind of just flowed into me becoming this bad word influencer.
Yeah. Were you kind of like an OG influencer? Like, how long have you been
Oh my
influencer?
gosh, yes.
Yeah.
10 years. Actually, it's 11 years this summer.
Yeah.
And I was introduced to it because I was I was the spokesperson for this beauty line. And they put me in charge of the PR firm, which was in New York City. It was a huge PR firm. And they came to us and they said, and this is probably like 14 years ago, they said, for $1 million, you can have Pamela Anderson. We're like, we don't have $1 million.
Yeah.
And the funny part is, that's who was really hot then. Although she's kind of made a reoccurrence, right?
She's having a moment.
Right,
Yeah.
completely from a different
Yes.
side
From
now,
a
which is
different-
yeah.
really amazing.
It
Oh
is.
my gosh.
It is.
From what she was to now, the stripped down, bare bones.
Really interesting, right? She's
Yeah.
showing a
Oh,
whole new
right.
side.
Yeah.
So we didn't have $1 million, so they
Right.
said, okay, you'll laugh, because anybody who's young has no idea who this is. For $500,000, you can get Callista Flockhart.
I know who Callista Flockhart is.
Oh,
Good.
wow.
Yeah. Right? That's an oldie
How
but
much
a
was the
goodie.
dancing
Yeah.
baby? If you're getting her, it's like you should get.
So it went all the way down. We're like, we don't have $500,000. So we get all the way down to $10,000, and we're like, we could do $10,000.
Yeah.
And so this 19-year-old teenager produces this crappy video in her bathroom. I mean, really crappy, with her crappy iPhone. And it was a 3-minute video that she got $10,000 for. $10,000. And I look at this video and I'm thinking, this is going to be amazing. And I'm like, who is this girl? I don't know
Yeah.
who this girl is. And she sounds uneducated. And, you know, I'm glad your skin looks good. You're 19. Like,
Right.
call me when you've had 3 kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're past 40. And so I thought, okay, I'm making $2,200 a month traveling around the country. And this girl made 10 grand on this little video that took her nothing.
Yeah.
I go, okay, what does she have that I don't have?
Right.
She has a following. I'm like, okay. So, but when I started in New York and LA, they had the bloggers or these famous people promoting products. There were no other influencers like your neighborhood pretty girl that was doing these things.
Right.
And so when I started, it was on Facebook. I would promote things. You know, I went to, since I knew so many people in fashion and fitness and wellness and beauty, I would say, hey, look, blow out my hair for free and I'll post it. Hey, give me a discount on these clothes and I'll post it. Hey, you know, I'll teach a class at your store, give me a discount. And so everybody was saying, so I would take a picture of like, look at my cute new outfit. And you just hear everybody going, she's such a narcissist. Who takes pictures of themselves and posts it?
Yeah.
Fast forward, everybody does.
Right, exactly.
Everybody has to. That's
Yeah.
like, whether, you know, you don't even have to be an influencer. For your business, you need to put yourself out there.
Right.
Period. It doesn't matter what you do. So at the time, it was really looked at as like, who does she think she is? And now it's kind of funny.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's so interesting too, because a lot of people don't think, a lot of people that aren't in the industry or really understand how it works, they don't get that it actually does take work and effort and time, a lot of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think so many times when, I'm going to say legit influencers
Right.
are underappreciated, because you actually have to really be thoughtful about how you're showing up. Yeah.
Right? Oh my gosh. And so, yeah, it's funny because people will say, okay, so what is your advice to the young women out there that want to be an influencer? Do you know what it is?
What?
Don't do it.
Yeah.
It's a full-time job.
Yeah.
You're under a microscope. It never stops.
Yeah.
And you really have to have thick skin, because people are always giving their opinion on you, good, bad, or otherwise. So people think it's all about getting this fabulous attention, but honestly, most of the attention is negative attention,
yeah.
because people are haters. Nobody is happy for anybody that's successful.
Yeah.
It's always that deflecting
Yeah.
of just kind of like, it's like, you know, I don't even care that you're saying this. It's like,
Well, so one of my jobs, I used to work at the Arizona Republic and then later went to USA Today. And I was young and with them kind of when Facebook and, you know, Instagram
Yep.
started being a thing. And it was so funny because I still remember this because I thought it was so hilarious, because people didn't understand how cruel like social media and the internet was. I posted this little story about this like family farm stand in Gilbert that would like let you take home produce and like pay what you can, you know?
Oh, I love
right,
that.
sweet story, like no. And it was just like the negative comments were like coming in like fire, and I thought, what is wrong with your life that this is how you want to spend your energy? But that's when I knew. I was like, okay, this is going to be a brutal
Yeah.
space for
Oh,
people to work
it really
in.
is.
Yeah.
Well, Bethany Frankel, she came out yesterday. I kind of do love her. I don't know if you saw her, but she was at Swim Week and she was in her bikini, and you know, most of the people were like, wow, you look amazing.
Yeah.
And she owns it, right? She's like, believe me, this took hours
Yeah.
and hours of professional artist to make me look the way I did, but thank you so much. Joy Behar came out and said, well, your fake tits or whatever, something about her fake boobs. And she's like, really? Like, I'm coming on here being honest about, I looked like this today because of all of the hours and all of the people and all of the,
right.
And you can't say good for you for getting out there at this age and showing up looking your best. She's got to nitpick her.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, like, be happy for people.
I'm not a super fan of commenting on people's bodies, period.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not really, it's
Right.
like, I don't know. I mean, unless you're supporting them, on some
Right.
kind of a journey or if they've made progress or something like that. But like,
Right.
really, like, why are we still doing that? Like, I just don't understand. Like, what is it my place to say, like, oh, Marshall, you look like you could drop 5 pounds,
And I would agree. I was like, yes,
Well,
I
know,
could.
but why am I going to say that?
Unless you're asking for it, like,
Right,
mind
right.
your own business. If
Right.
it makes you happy, if you're insecure about a body part or anything on your body and you decide to go do something for yourself that makes you happy, more power to you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And,
Yes.
if you were to come to me and say, hey, Julie, you know what? I really want to lose 5 pounds. What do you think? I'd be like, all right, let's go. Let me look at what you're eating. Let me, tell me what you got going on. Let's figure it out.
Because that's your choice.
That's
like,
your choice.
you made that
completely.
commitment
Right. I mean,
to do
it's
that.
It's in my
Right.
control. I mean, I could lose 5 pounds. There's all these things I would do to make that in.
Right.
And it's like,
But it's life balance too.
Exactly.
It's like, there's this balance of we want to enjoy life. And I really struggle with this because here I am, Miss Fashion, Fitness, Wellness, Beauty, and I'm showing people how to live this life. But on the other hand, I don't want to be super rigid in my life where I can't go out and have a drink or go out to dinner. People always think, okay, so what are your meal restrictions? Like what won't you eat? And I go, no, I'm not like that. Like we can go to any restaurant and I will figure out what I'm going to eat. I will make good choices based on whatever. But do you drink? Yes, I drink. I love to drink.
Welcome to the club.
Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Within reason and
yeah.
balance, and not every night. But it's the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
So and that's life in general, right? We don't want to work too much. You don't want to eat too much. You don't want to drink too much. You want to enjoy life and find balance in everything that you do.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a great transition into, one of the things that you're absolutely known for is fitness.
Yeah.
How did that, I guess that was maybe a natural progression from beauty and kind of...
Well, I was chubby growing up.
You were?
Yep. And from the time I was little, I have 3 brothers. And so, we'd order pizza or we'd have donuts and my brothers would eat a full large pizza on their own. And then I'd have 2 slices and my mom would be like, that's good, right? In a nice way. She was she was just making sure that, because I could easily have had a large piece of pizza with my brothers, right? It was never a mean thing, but she just was always like conscientious for me. And I was a dancer, and the chubby dancer always gets the back row. and I wanted to be in the front row.
Yeah.
I like being in the limelight. And so I had this drive in me, like I don't want to be the chubby girl. So I started exercising. When I was 15, I was a baton twirler. Don't laugh. I was a nationally ranked baton twirler, still chubby.
Wow.
And
okay.
Still chubby. And my baton twirling instructor, she didn't really like me that much because I didn't look the part.
Right.
Like,
I was like, that's actually really cool that you were not the body type that you normally see with twirling batons, because usually it's like this
toothpick
big.
skin.
Teeny tiny.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And so even my baton teacher, in retrospect, she was an awful person. She was. Shout out to you. You know who you are.
As all the baton twirler teachers in the country are like, oh, did I know Julie?
Oh my gosh. But you know what? This is the thing is that, oh my gosh, so many girls that I grew up with, we've all kind of gotten Facebook,
Yeah.
right? There are benefits to social media. But she was so abusive, really, to all of us. She
Yeah.
gave all of us such a bad concept of our bodies, just body dysmorphia. But she didn't like me because I wasn't the pretty girl. And
Right.
so the minute I quit twirling, and I quit twirling pretty much because of her,
Okay.
because she could never give me accolades. So anyways, I quit. My mom goes, well, what are you going to do now? You got to keep moving. In a nice way, right?
Right.
She's like, you're twirling 4 hours a day. What are you going to do? I said, I'm going to go to aerobics. And so I started going to our local gym, and I had an instructor who was just mean as hell, but in a great way. Like, she just was like a drill sergeant that just was, you're like dying, and she's like, you've got this, work harder. And I started, so I loved it, and I started teaching aerobics the next year. So I've been
Okay.
teaching aerobics since I was 16, and it became such a passion of mine trying to figure out how to get skinny, because it
Yeah.
didn't just fall off.
Yeah.
I do believe that baby fat is a real thing, but I put everything into motion and started working out, wound up making it my degree
Okay.
in college, and I've been teaching. I mean, I've just been teaching my whole
Yeah.
life,
Yeah.
and now it's a passion of mine to help people that want to get skinny, because the thing is that it's so easy to have this, self-fulfilling prophecy, or this, to just feel like, well, I guess this is what God gave me and I can't.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky that I just have that fire inside me to say, screw all of you, I'm going to do this. And
Yeah.
I happen to really get into aerobics, but not everybody has that where they feel confident and
Yeah.
feel like they can do it. It's hard. So I just love to help people and show people that exercising can be really fun, because it can be.
I think that's what I'm trying to figure out. So I kind of had the opposite of you. I was always really tiny. Like for a lot of my life, even up through my 20s, I was maybe like 105 pounds. Granted, I'm only 4'10", so I was maybe 105 pounds, but with muscle. And then I started an antidepressant. I started birth control. I started all these things.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Hormones change.
That'll do it.
Yeah, put on a ton of weight. And it's like I'm now trying to, I think, understand even what my body looks like, how I feel about my body. Like, I'm kind of in this phase of like, well, what do I want to do about it? And what I'm kind of discovering for myself right now is I'm just trying to move. I'm trying to move my body.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, first of all, let me say you are gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
You are gorgeous. And hormones are like the most important thing. That is like the number one most important thing. So I always tell everybody when they come to me and they're like, what do I do? Go get your hormones checked.
Yeah.
Number one. And then number two is move. And
Yeah.
I tell everybody the most underrated exercise out there is walking.
Yeah.
Walk. Just walk.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that people really miss out on is they're like, you see all these crazy exercises and doing CrossFit and spinning, and you see the people crawling out of the room and they're drenched in sweat. And right.
Yeah.
And that actually isn't beneficial exercise, to be
Right.
really honest. Like if you really want beneficial exercise, just walking is
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
And so I think people get really they feel overwhelmed and they feel like they can't do it because of what they see out there, and it's not that. And same with food.
Yeah.
People get so overwhelmed of like, well, I if I can't have my Starbucks in the morning, then I don't want to do this. Or if I feel like I can't ever have pizza or a piece of
Right.
cake, it's not worth it. Like but it's not that.
Yeah.
It's just there's so many, and all these diets that are out there are there to make you fail, because a diet will never work.
Yeah.
It has to be a way of living.
Right.
And there's little things that I was able to implement over time. Like, I mean, my brother drank regular Coke for a million years. He went to his doctor. He's like, I just have heartburn all the time. And he's like, why? He's like, I don't know. It could be the 20 Cokes and 10 cups of coffee a day, right? He got rid of regular Coke and lost 30 pounds. Like, so it's
Yeah.
like, right, how much sugar.
Right.
So it's like, if you could just take away little things, like, I don't love Caesar dressing or a creamy dressing, so switch to balsamic and throw it on the side.
Yeah.
Like little things, like, do you have to have the croutons on your salad? Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing too. People order salads thinking they're being healthy, and most salads have more calories than everything else on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
By the time you add in all the stuff they put on it, it's worse than having a sandwich.
Or it's like the whole thing is like, oh, go have one of these like health bars.
Yeah.
And it's like, then you flip it over and look at the ingredients and everything else. It's like, this is a candy bar.
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
They just stamp it healthy, and suddenly it's supposed to be different for you, and it's like, no,
No, absolutely.
still a bad choice.
Still a bad choice.
Yeah.
But even within that, the funny thing is that you can really eat. If you wanted to just go and eat a candy bar, you can have a candy bar. It's all about moderation. So if you have the candy bar or the crappy power bar, because that's where you're at in your day, you're racing and that's all you have time for, something has to give somewhere else. So you don't get to have the donut and the 500 calorie coffee and the candy
Right.
bar and the bread at night and the wine. It's like somewhere something's got to give.
Yeah.
And so it's all about moderation. So it's not about feeling like you can't have the donut or you can't have, or even, this is the other thing, is that a lot of times people are just not aware of the calories. Back to the salad that winds up being more than if you actually were to get on like MyFitnessPal, which is an incredible app, and it remembers everything you enter, and also remembers everything else, what everybody else enters.
Right.
So you can literally go in there and Starbucks, and a lot of the restaurants now, if there's more than 3 restaurants, I believe, they have to put the calories on the food. Right. So if you type in Starbucks coffee drinks, it'll come up, and you'll see maybe the Starbucks drink that you were ordering has way more calories than another drink that you like just as much, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, I'll order the less calorie one. I like that one almost as much. Or sometimes you think you're ordering the healthy salad and you actually look at the calories and you're like, oh my God, I could have had the chicken sandwich, which I would have liked way more.
Yep.
And it has half the calories of this stupid salad. Okay, forget the salad. So just the awareness can be so helpful, because a lot of times, same with Fleming Steakhouse, I know for a fact, like they have all their calories.
Yep.
Right.
I am always shocked when I like play a game with myself. I'll be like, okay, how many calories? I'm pretty good guessing calories. And even I will be wrong. Sometimes getting the steak is way less than getting the salmon.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. So when restaurants started putting calories on the menu, not all of them, but
Yep.
a lot
Yep.
of them.
Right.
Same. I thought I was going to be good, and get like a Cobb salad, and then it was like
The worst.
Yeah,
It's like
it was
1,500 calories.
billion calories, and then I'm like looking, and there's like like you get a small thing of fettuccine alfredo and like a steak, and it was less calories, and I
Yes.
was like, what? I'm going for that.
Yeah, but so that's where people really mess up. So a lot of times everybody wants to put they're like, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to know, I don't want. But you know what? If you actually look, you'll be happily surprised, and you'll wind up eating maybe better food that fills you up, that you actually like, than ordering the thing that you didn't like, thinking you were doing a good job.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's tricky. It's tricky. Like
It is
that.
tricky, but the awareness is huge. And also the awareness, this is another thing where women particularly really screw up, is when most women come to me and they say, I don't know, Julie, I'm exercising every day, I'm eating healthy, and I'm not losing any weight. I go, are you eating enough? Women, we've been taught, don't eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Women are supposed to be skinny.
Yeah.
Right? And so most women I talk to are not eating enough calories.
Okay.
So if you overeat, you won't lose weight.
Yeah.
If you undereat, you won't lose weight.
Why?
Because your body goes, oh no, I'm starving. And so your body holds on to everything that you put in.
But what about the intermittent fasting that everybody is really recommending?
Women should not intermittent fast.
I've heard that. Okay.
Women should not intermittent fast. So our body's same thing. It's kind of like our body goes, there's nothing going in. I'm gonna hold on to everything. Men's bodies are completely different. So men can intermittent fast, and they're fine. Women, not so much.
Okay.
If the minute you don't have breakfast and you go for a walk or you go do a workout, you burn muscle. Because it doesn't have anything there.
Okay.
It raises your cortisol levels. It does nothing for you.
Yeah.
So for those of us who think, I'm just not going to eat. I'm just not going to eat. I'm going to eat really low calorie, and I'm going to walk, and I'm going to work out really, really hard, and I'm not going to eat anything, and I'm going to lose weight. You actually screw up your metabolism.
Okay.
Versus helping your metabolism. So, and that just goes back to, it's kind of really basic if we really thought about it, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty basic what we should be doing, and we're the ones messing it all up.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
But
that sounds pretty right. Yeah.
It's funny because I call it my mental illness. I have the same mental illness that everybody else has, right? Like I'll be like, I didn't work out today, or oh gosh, I ate too much or whatever, or you get on the scale and you're like, ooh, I'm skinny, but skinny is not healthy anymore for women. And in terms of longevity, which is like the new buzzword, for longevity, women need muscle.
Yeah. Yeah.
And skinny is out.
Yeah.
Fit is in.
Yeah. I hope that's true.
Oh no, it's 100% true.
It's interesting with like the rise of Ozempic and a lot of those like drugs where people are just losing weight so quickly and then looking like razorly thin. It's like, oh God, is like meth skinny back in? I don't want it to be.
No, it's not. Well, that's why they're making fun of everybody.
Yeah.
Because they are getting skinny quick. It's like, and you could spot it from a mile away, right? Like exactly who's on Ozempic. You're like, okay, well that didn't just happen by accident. You see somebody and like 3 months later they're like, and also, it doesn't look good because if you're not adding muscle in too, your skin just sags. That's not an attractive look.
Yeah. No, it's not. And I think it's interesting that people are making like entire industries out of this. Like you go in, you get your weight loss meds, and then, oh yeah, you're going to have sagging skin. Come back and see me. We'll tighten that for you. You know what I mean? Like it's a whole.
No, you're right.
It's a whole thing.
It's creating these whole new industries rapidly.
I know.
But interestingly enough, if you don't put some new habits in place behind it, you know, where are you going to be?
Yeah.
You know, are you going to stay on it forever? It's expensive.
Yes, it is.
It's like $600 a month.
Yep.
Well,
And
we were just talking about it. It's like, and then if you go off of it, the weight comes right back.
Well, if that's when
unless you have altered how you're behaving.
Yeah.
And that is one of the biggest mistakes, I think, is that people aren't putting habits in place because all of a sudden you're not hungry.
That's what I was telling him. Yeah.
You're not hungry, so you don't eat. Woo!
That makes it so easy.
It makes it so easy, but you are going to, you're going to screw up your metabolism.
Yep.
So, and if you're not eating the protein that you need, now you're losing muscle. So now you're going to be scrawny, skinny, without muscle, and muscle is what keeps your metabolism high.
Yeah.
So if you don't have muscle to keep your metabolism high, what happens? Your metabolism slows down.
Right.
So now you're going to have a sluggish metabolism. You're not going to be burning fat. You're going to put all the weight back on.
Yeah.
So congratulations. If you want to spend $600 a month on medicine
Yeah.
to keep you skinny and so that you don't enjoy life, because you go to dinner and you're like, I'm not hungry. We want to drink.
Yeah.
It suppresses. You don't want to drink.
Yeah, we were just talking about that because I tried it and it made me feel awful. Like I don't do well on it. And so I had a conversation with my husband and he was like, why are you doing this? Like, you know, you're not able to enjoy going out and kind of just feeling good on a regular basis.
And that's life.
Yeah. And so I just, I got off of it, saved myself hundreds of dollars every month.
You're like,
you know?
that's $600 I can go shopping with.
I was like, yay. But no, I mean, you're right. And I think it's just a good reminder to keep in mind that it is all about balance and kind of doing things, in moderation. And
in moderation. Yeah. I want to enjoy life too. And I struggle with the balance. I'm not going to say I've got this all figured out. I don't think we ever really truly figure it out.
Right.
But I do know looking good is important. It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. I don't understand how people don't work out because it's the only thing that calms my crazy.
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
I mean, like literally, if I'm like sad, work out. If I'm angry, work out. If I'm, low on energy, work out.
Yeah.
The endorphins released always makes you feel better.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, Julie, it's been so fun chatting with you. I feel like we could keep you on for hours and just keep going. But for those that aren't already following you, why don't you share how people can learn more about you and what you do?
Yeah. Okay, so I am Lifestyle Jules, Jules. And I am on every single platform, lifestylejules.com, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. And I do a live workout every Thursday, as long as I'm in town, at 9 a.m. on Instagram. And it's a high-intensity interval workout. You're doing it in the comfort of your own home. Nobody sees you. So you go at your own pace, your own level. And if you have a hard time, showing up and getting a workout in, you'll feel like you're in a classroom with me without anybody seeing you, which is the other part too, is if you feel insecure to go into a classroom with other people where you feel like they might be looking at you or judging you, hey, you're by yourself. You and your dogs, if you have dogs like I do, they'll be sitting there staring at you. But it's super fun. And Fit with Lifestyle Jules, I have free workouts that you can do for days and days and days and days and days.
Well, that's awesome. What a great invitation. Please join her on Thursdays at 9 in the morning. And do it comfy, do it comfortable. Just move your body like we talked about earlier.
Right.
So again, very cool having you on.
Thank you
for being so open and honest. It's been lovely. We're going to take a quick break. Marshall and I will be back with things
our
to
shenanigans,
do. Yep, our shenanigans. So keep it right here.
Show. I'm Marshall Shore.
And I'm Melissa Farley. We're here at the
fabulous Arizona Center.
And
the
surprise!
fun just keeps rolling on.
I know. We have another guest. So we've got Amy here from Moment of Truth Physical Therapy and Healing Space. Hi.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. So before I start digging in and asking all the questions that are rattling around in my brain, share a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Amy Vander Linden. I'm a physical therapist. I own Moment of Truth Physical Therapy and Healing Space. We also have a yoga studio, massage, so kind of the all-encompassing name. But several of our mantras are no settling, no suffering, and no shame. And I have the honor of getting to talk about things all day that most people don't. And so there's no such thing as TMI in our space, and just really want to help men and women be a lot more confident in their bodies, know their own anatomy, and be able to advocate for themselves and their own health.
So one of the things I really want to dig into, we were talking about off air before we started, but what I think is cool timing about this is I was just talking with Pat about how I tend to disassociate a lot with my body, and because of all the pain that I've been through and health issues that I've had, and
so common.
Yeah, and he was like, you should really find something to help you get reintegrated, with your body. And I just think it's fascinating that you are here because we literally just had that conversation over the weekend.
Well, I'm glad you went right there because there's a lot of different aspects to pelvic floor physical therapy, and I think that in our space, part of why I opened the yoga studio, I'm not an instructor. I do some yoga, but I wouldn't consider myself a hardcore yogi. But if you think for just a minute about the various difficulties women have with their cycles and potential pain and health problems, then potential issues with fertility and getting pregnant or birth traumas, then any histories of childhood or sexual trauma and rape and the statistics we know around that, and then add into that statistics around miscarriage and painful sex and all of these other different things, and the chance that a woman's walking through our doors without some degree of dissociation, some degrees of trauma, some degrees of not trusting or understanding her own body are really, really high. And so all of our therapists and our yoga instructors are trauma informed. Not all of the classes are 100% geared towards trauma. Like we have a belly dancing class and we have aerial hammocks and fun as well, but it's just good to move your body and move that energy. And so that dissociation is so common, and we talk a lot about what's normal versus what's common. It might be common to leak pee after having kids, but it's not normal, and it's fixable. And so we do a lot of that education and talking about those different pieces.
I love that point that you brought up, because it's you'll get together with a group of women and you'll all be sharing the same struggles, the same things, and it's exactly what you're talking about. It's common, we all experience it, but should we be? That's the question that we should be asking. And so I want to dig more into the pelvic physical therapy, because I won't say names, but a good friend of mine started doing physical therapy for her pelvis after, for a while now, she had told me that when she would get to the point of orgasm, it would also simultaneously be one of the most painful experiences of her existence. And so they recommended that she try this. And I had never heard of it. I didn't know it was a thing.
Well, and that's probably, I always joke, that's my biggest marketing challenge, is not trying to be better than so-and-so down the street. It's just helping people know what the heck, that pelvic floor therapy exists, what it is, what we do, what we can help. And that might vary a bit amongst therapists, not all of them treat men and different things, but by and large, most women still have no idea that there's pelvic floor physical therapy. Most humans, men and women, again, we treat both, don't have any idea that there's muscles underneath our glutes that form our pelvic floor. Even if we've vaguely heard of pelvic floor, we're like, what is even happening down there? And we think about sex, or we think about having kids, or we think about babies, but we don't necessarily associate it with, it can just be muscle dysfunction, just like other parts of our body. You get an issue with your shoulder, it can be coming from your pec or something in the back, or rotator cuff issues. There's muscles down there, there's ligaments down there, and they can become weak, shortened, tight, inflamed, injured, just like other muscles throughout the body.
So when someone comes in to see you for physical therapy for the pelvic area, what are you actually doing? What does that look like?
Let me go anatomy geek on you for a second. I won't spend too much time on this, but as you can picture us all sitting here with our pelvis, bony iliac crest, the pubic bone is in the front, the spinal column's coming down, these are the last few vertebrae, we've got the sacrum in the back, and so there's all of these different ligaments and soft tissue, and so of course our glutes are here, our ab muscles are coming down here, some attaching here, so as actually going down through, which is our big hip flexor, and very important structure. But then we have all these red guys in here. I won't elaborate, but there's muscle that go from, and tons of ligaments that literally hold our top half to our bottom half. And so these muscles that go from the base of the sacrum and the tailbone over to, this is our sit bones underneath us, and then scoop around and support that rounded part in front where the pubic bone is. And so there's muscle in there. Women have 3 layers, men have 2. It's just because we have muscular structures that make up the vaginal canal.
Okay.
So a lot of the rest of the structures besides that vaginal canal are very similar. And digestion and the pelvic floor are also extremely linked. So one of the major things I talk about and or work on has to do with constipation and poor digestion and gut health and those kinds of issues, very, very closely linked.
Okay.
Also, our diaphragm and our pelvic floor should be in unison with our breath. And so a lot of times that gets disrupted and we're not breathing well and we're not moving well. And so kind of all goes together.
Yeah. Okay, that's really interesting, especially seeing how it's all interconnected and talking about that kind of holistically. So say more then about what the physical therapy actually does to
Oh yeah,
help
your
with
original
that.
question,
Yeah.
my bad. I
good.
went off on the anatomy.
No, it was helpful.
Well, and so we do treat the whole body. So I do a postural assessment. I look for lines of tension. I specialize in something called myofascial release. Our fascia is just all of our connective tissue, literally head to toe. And so our blood vessels, our lymph, our nerves, our bones all sit through there. And like your friend's issue is likely a nerve, that there's some specific nerves that go directly to the clitoris, and they're unfortunately probably caught up in some pelvic floor dysfunction. So even as she's starting to have blood flow there and increased pleasure, that nerve is going, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
And so I check the abdomen. I can actually check for bladder and uterus alignment in the belly, ovaries, same men, muscle tension, of course, women with that after kiddos or during pregnancy, sometimes they're worried about the separation of the abs, that diastasis. And so, and both are correct, diastasis, diastasis, potato, potato. And so just wanting that core and pelvic floor to work together again and assessing those different pieces. And then structurally, it's always a very important thing to me, especially when we're constantly talking about no settling, no suffering, no shame. Informed consent. It's massively missing in our medical community today. I won't go on a rant, I promise. But in our space, it's very important that just because you agreed to this evaluation that includes pelvic floor concerns, that does not automatically mean you understand what I'm going to do with internal work. That doesn't mean you're automatically saying yes to that. And your yes right now might turn into a no.
Right.
And so we have a lot of dialogue and communication around that. And just because you said yes this session doesn't mean next week it's a yes. But we do check the perineal tissue, which is the band between the vaginal and rectal opening.
Okay.
Then we check internal structures, easing in very gently to each layer. It's part of what I actually specialize in myofascial work before I even got into all of the pelvic floor. And it's very, very well suited to pelvic floor therapy because we're inherently waiting on the body to start softening, to start shifting, to start saying, okay, I don't need to hold this tension here anymore. A lot of stuff that goes on, especially in this part of our body, is subconscious, right? We don't mean to be gripping our glutes. We don't mean to be clenching. We don't know that we have bowel or bladder dysfunction. We don't know that we're guarding or have a protective response happening that's affecting our tissues.
Yeah.
So we move through all of that very slowly, but we check layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, checking the right side, left side, looking for tightness, inflammation, pain, any laxity. A lot of women are sometimes concerned if their bladder is still where it's supposed to be, or uterus or rectal tissue. There can be that scary prolapse word that can be happening. And so it's one of my greatest joys that happened twice last week was getting to meet with clients who were worried they had pretty severe prolapse and were headed for surgery, and to be able to tell them that one of them doesn't have prolapse at all. She actually has a lot of tension and was feeling pressure due to how much tension and congestion there is in her muscle tissue.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nothing, unfortunately, she's also experiencing very painful intercourse because of all of the tension.
Right.
But at least her parts aren't falling out, which was her other concern.
Yeah.
Another client, there's a little bit of the bladder and the uterus and the rectal tissue that all have a little bit of shift and laxity to them, but nothing super severe. I think she's going to be just fine. with some pelvic floor therapy and getting her back to more exercise that she wants to do. So
I don't know if it's because I'm older and like now I'm learning about these kinds of options and like, things that are available, but like they don't talk to you about that,
Well, I think also it's becoming more acceptable to talk about some of these things. And I love the fact that you're not just talking about women, but also men.
Yeah.
So.
Well, men, I think, suffer with things that they have no idea. And again, we don't know. We might know about our glutes and our hips, so we don't know there's muscle under there. And so I don't have a lot of bandwidth right now to focus on it, but I would love for men, and I do have a pelvic floor report geared towards men, because I think if men knew, they're not notorious for staying super flexible and mobile. And I think if men knew about those muscles and those structures, they could avoid some of the ED that happens with aging, and maybe not more importantly, but additionally very vital as men get past 40, 50, 60 is prostate issues and issues with urination, whether that's at night or stream issues. A lot of that can just be muscle dysfunction. And they're struggling, and then they're on a medication, and then they're bounced around to doctors, and then they're talking about their prostate, and then they're doing biopsies and all of these things that actually create more muscle dysfunction. And might not, we don't need to have the prostate cancer fear necessarily. It might have nothing to do with that. And if we had good blood flow and muscle function around the prostate, men might be able to avoid a lot of those issues as well. And so that's why I'm so passionate about education. I'm so grateful you guys had me on, because, we just don't know, and we don't talk about it.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I was telling her, you might have been in the restaurant, but it was like, I talked to specifically my gynecologist at different points throughout my life about things that I probably should have been referred to something like this,
Possibly.
But it never even got presented to me as an option, you know what I mean? So it was like, that's so interesting. So, okay, I just said the word referral, so let me ask that. If people want to work with you or get a consult or something like that, do they need a referral? How do they come in and experience what you're offering?
Yeah, so we are a cash-based out-of-network clinic, and what that means, practically speaking, is that you don't need a referral. You're able to come directly in. Some people are able to submit for out-of-network reimbursement through their insurance. So in that case, it's more, Arizona is a direct access state. So you definitely don't need to, by law or by my license or anything like that. But if your insurance wants you to have a referral from your doctor, then you might need a referral.
Okay.
We also can take HSA or FSA cards, and some of the health share plans are much more broad-based about who you're able to go see, and there's not really an in-network, out-of-network situation.
Okay.
So that's sometimes a bit easier too. And then we also have packages and payment plans to try to work with people, because I know it's frustrating to not be able to use insurance when you pay into it. But we definitely want to be able to treat whatever's needed when the client shows up. If you traveled and now your neck's out of whack, I don't want to have to send you back for a separate referral for your neck, and then I can't treat your neck and your pelvic floor at the same visit. We just treat whatever's showing up when you walk in, focused, of course, on your main concerns. But a lot of times where our bodies has symptoms or is crying for help isn't where the main root cause of the problem is. So we're really trying to get to the root cause. But the good news, too, is most clients, again, this is an average, but most clients do really well in that 12 to 16 visit range. We're not talking about 3 times a week for 12 weeks.
Right.
And so we really try to work with people. We're focused primarily on the skilled hands-on services in the space, and then working with, we have tons of videos and home program things, so to make sure we keep them active, make sure we're teaching them the stretches, the exercises they need to be doing to keep those improvements lasting. But yeah, I mean, my all-time favorite taboo topic is helping clients have better sex.
Yeah.
Speaking of things that are not discussed, and not, there's just so many layers. As soon as that's involved, the intimacy and the relationships impacted, how each person feels about their own body and themselves is impacted. There's all of these elephants in the room, and women feel bad that they're in pain, and the men don't understand, and they don't know what to say, and it feels like everything's off limits. And so that's probably my all-time favorite educational topic. I even have a separate website, sexpertpt.com, and a brief webinar, and it's my favorite. Brought my little clitoris friend here. So one of my favorite things to educate on anatomy is that this whole thing is our clitoris. And so most of us only know, I think they've got it marked in yellow here for some reason, the little nub that is just above the urethra. Meanwhile, all of our labia and clitoral hood tissues here, so no one's used to seeing it even that clearly as it is. But most of us only know about this little tip.
Right.
It can vary in size. But this is the female sexual organ.
Okay.
I love to go all the way back and stop the boys have a penis and girls have a, what did we learn growing up?
Vagina.
Right. No. Should have been boys have a penis and girls have a clitoris. That is our sexual organ. That is the male sexual organ. The vagina is really just the canal. Even the whole thing is actually called a vulva. So the clitoris is actually way larger than any of us realize. There's these bulbous pieces, and these are called the legs of the crura, that go underneath the pubic bone, underneath the labial tissue. So again, this is the only piece that peeks out, but there's so much else underneath. And that's why sometimes the pressure here, all of this can swell with arousal and blood flow as we're engaging in different acts. And so 60 to 80% of women need clitoral stimulation to reach orgasm. And most women don't know that about their own bodies, and so we feel broken. We don't really understand why we don't love intercourse, why that's not the end all be all for us. We feel broken, and it just piles onto all of those other layers. Never mind if we've also got pain or horrible menstrual cycles, or we're having other health issues, or facing menopause, or all of the different things that tend to throw us into a little bit of a tizzy.
Yeah, it does seem really interesting because, again, I won't share names, but like, I feel like I have kind of two camps of like my friends, my female friends. Like some of my female friends seem to just really enjoy sex, and that's like a wonderful thing for them, and yay, you know. And then I have like this other group of friends that you suffer through it, like, you know, and that's just, they've just accepted that's just what it is, and it's a marital duty, you know, like. And it's really fascinating to me because both of those groups just think that that's just normal. That's just the way it is, you know. And so having these conversations is really interesting, I think, to kind of start even just talking about it feels good.
Right.
Yeah.
When we do a discovery session, because again, most people don't even know what pelvic PT is or how we can help them. And so I love when the partners come with them to that appointment and I can get their perspective as well. Because again, I think a lot of men feel like they're walking on eggshells. They don't want to make their wife feel bad, but of course they're frustrated. Of course they're disappointed. They don't understand. They might not know what to say. They want to be supportive, but they don't understand. And how could they understand? We don't even usually know what's going on with our own body.
Right.
How is our partner, our husband, whatever, supposed to be able to help or understand it? We can't see any of it.
Yeah.
And so it's just all of these unknowns and frustrations and pain and guilt and and it does start to pile up and add on to the to-do list as opposed to enjoyable, pleasurable interactions. So that's my favorite thing to help with.
Ooh, well, what a cool,
Yeah.
like, just, I don't even know what to say. Like, okay, let's just do that. So why don't you share both of the websites, by the way, and anywhere else that people can learn more about you or get in touch with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. So Moment of Truth Physical Therapy is, well, we have a YouTube channel. There's a lot of videos and educational content on there. Momentoftruthpt.com is the website. Sexpertpt.com is the other website that's focused mostly on the webinar that I have, as well as we have a radial shockwave unit that can help with ED and improved clitoral orgasms related to blood flow and sensation. So all of that information is on the sexpertpt.com website, and then Facebook and Instagram, just Moment of Truth Physical Therapy or Moment of Truth PT on Instagram. So
beautiful.
The YouTube channel is where most of the educational content lives, so that would probably be the most helpful to people. Or the website, we have a lot of free reports. We have things on avoiding pain during pregnancy, male pelvic health. We also treat babies, lip and tongue tie, torticollis, digestive issues. We have a free report on what pelvic PT is and what to look for in a provider. So there's a lot of content on the website and on the YouTube channel, just trying to help people even in other states find providers or other parts of the valley. So
I didn't even ask, where is your physical space
we are
located?
over in Peoria.
Okay,
yeah.
Peoria.
So just off the 101 at Bell Road.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of this incredible information with
Oh, it's been my
us.
pleasure.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. So keep it right here.
Good morning and welcome back to the morning show. I am Marshall Shore.
And I'm Melissa Farley. We're here at
The fabulous Arizona Center.
Whew. What a
day we've had
What a
so
day
far.
we've had.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
I know. I'm like, okay, I need to check out this. But no, it's good.
Well, and about how like muscles I didn't know were affecting things I didn't know they're affecting. And I'm like, oh.
Well, you know, I think it's interesting because we have Courtney on, obviously, who talks
Right.
about sex and love and relationships, you know, but, you know, a lot of people, there's so much, I guess taboo is the right word around that, like just emotional charge and spiritual stuff wrapped around
and
the
Courtney's
topic.
really talking about kind of the emotional,
Yeah.
or the health side
But
of
to
that.
hear the science side of
Well,
it
exactly,
and the anatomy.
Right, exactly. There's this whole anatomy side that
Yeah.
you don't think about. You think it's all up here. And it's like, oh, wait a minute. There's
Which
also,
I find really helpful.
There's
like,
muscles I didn't know about doing things that I didn't know they were doing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, well, what can I do for those muscles?
So I know a lot of women don't talk about that, and it might be something that they're kind
Or
of
m-
silently
or
suffering with,
men.
or men. But you have options. Just throwing that out there. You
Right,
have
there are
options. So
And that
yeah.
is good to know.
Yeah, and if you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to. You don't have to tell your family and friends that you're doing pelvic physical therapy, you know, but,
Right.
you know, if that's something that really is impacting your life, you know, I think that's why it's important we have people like her on, you know,
Exactly.
to share that,
Right.
that exists for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of things that exist,
Oh my
Let's
gosh.
talk about some
history. All right, so you know, sometimes elections can be very stressful about who's
Oh,
gonna
really?
who's gonna be the winner, and all of that. So on this day back in 1940, the town of Safford,
Mm-hmm.
they decided who their mayor would be with a coin toss.
oh, I thought you were going to say like forever.
No, with the coin
Just
toss. It was
gonna
kind of like,
stay.
it was like, hey, you know, there's two candidates. We can't decide which one. So we're going to flip a coin.
Oh, wow. That's
And-
legal, huh? You can just do that?
At that point it was. I have a feeling probably not so much anymore.
Yeah.
But back then,
Well, that's fabulous.
exactly.
Or is it? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, you know, I just
Did they
thought
get a good one?
I thought it was interesting. I didn't look in to see, well, was the mayor a good one or a bad one?
was the outcome? Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's like, but I also love the fact that it was talking about Safford.
So
which
wait, did
is-
they not even vote, or like it was
so,
close?
So
and
so
they...
it sounds like because it was a town,
Yeah.
it didn't necessarily need a public election, so it was like city council.
So
and
like,
so they couldn't decide who amongst the city council. It was like a tied vote.
so like Mayberry at
Yeah, exactly.
in the Andy
But you know
Griffith
what I
show.
mean. But it's like you've got Safford, which is kind of the gateway to the salsa trail. I mean,
Yeah.
and so as well as I was talking about it this weekend.
I feel like Homer Simpson. Like after you said salsa, I was just like, salsa.
And we have none.
I know.
So in
I'm
case
aware.
you're hoping, it's
I
like, nope,
wasn't.
there is no salsa
No.
today. But also they also have public hot baths, geothermal.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
most people don't realize. So I just thought it's like, oh, well, look, we're talking about the Safford election, but then we get to talk about, then we don't really get to talk about that much.
Well, there you go. Now you
So
know.
there you go. So toss a coin, get a mayor, go
Go to
support.
Safford, sit in some hot springs. Yeah.
Exactly.
That'd
And
be a good
feel
time.
better.
So, you know what else makes me feel better? Celebrating.
Indeed. All right, so today we're celebrating. So if you ever go visit Grand Avenue,
Yeah.
it is part of a trend called yarn bombing,
Oh, yeah.
where they basically knit, crochet. It's a great way to also recycle things, just to beautify an area,
Yep.
make it more artful, bring in color. And so today is International Yarn Bombing Day.
Oh, fun. I hope we see some out and about.
So indeed. Well, I know I'm going to go home and drive up Grand Avenue and
There you
get to
go.
go see all those beautiful quilts and things that Beatrice has put up there.
There are a lot of places in Scotland that do this yarn bombing. And then it was funny, I actually watched like a 10-minute a TED Talk, and it was about kind of an artist that was constantly trying to just experience new things, and somehow he got into knitting, and then that turned into yarn bombing, and then he ended up being one of the like record holders of like the largest yarn bomb that you can do out in nature. I thought that was fascinating.
Well, and recently they did there's with light rail opening up recently.
Yeah.
It's like there's now this whole like public shade structure.
Yeah.
And so one of them was basically like this crocheted.
Which shade is so important in Arizona.
I know.
Hello, we want shade.
I know. I'm like, and you know, we go to Yuma, and they've got those overhangs where they can drop those cotton canvas blinds and create shade in the middle of summer.
All
but
the time
Phoenix can't get shade.
About bus stops that don't have covers still. Like, oh, it's everywhere. It's like, wow.
I know.
We live in Arizona.
And I'm like, Yuma can get shade.
Yeah, let's get some shade.
So.
Yeah.
Also, and you know, and so time of year, we're getting ready to get into where produce is growing. So it's National Corn Cob.
Ooh.
So
I like some
who
good corn on the
doesn't
cob.
love some corn on the cob?
I actually cut mine off though. I don't. You know why? I had this little like tooth thing, and
it just gets in
I
there.
can't do
and
it.
Then I have to sit there and
It's
floss
not
it
an
out.
enjoyable experience. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm one of those silly people that
Okay,
takes
so now
my
here's
corn.
so in that photo of corn, they had a
Yeah.
little pat of butter on your corn.
Yeah.
After it's been thrown on the grill. How do you put butter on your ear of corn?
Well, I use the stick, and then I hold it still in the plastic, and then I rub it all over the corn cob. How do you do it? Do you melt it?
I take a piece of bread. You put your butter on the bread. You put your salt, your pepper on the
Okay,
butter, and
all
then
right.
you take your ear of corn and you just spin it on your.
So I think I have, my husband says selective OCD, where I like am very precise about certain things, and buttering, salting, and peppering my corn is one of them. So
Well,
I'm
but
like,
maybe you should try that
No, I
because
will.
you can really control how it
I'll
goes
try
on
it.
there.
I'll try it.
And then when you're done, then you have this really kind of beautiful piece of bread that has a little bit of salt,
That
a
would
little
be
bit of
good.
pepper, and some.
okay,
So yeah.
sold. You should have
So-
led with the delectable piece of bread aftermath. That would have
So I mean that it's like
buried the lead.
it's a win-win. So after you have all that corn,
Yeah,
then you get a piece of bread. That's
deal. Done. Trying it.
delicious.
Yep.
All right. And kind of, you know, I guess kind of also in kind of what we're talking today, it is National Make Life Beautiful Day.
Aw, that's nice.
So encouraging individuals realizing that beauty is contribution of so many different things in their life. So it's a great way to just, you know, learn about other things going on and how so many things can impact making your life beautiful.
I do that every day for you just by showing up.
But you know, but like we were talking, it's like it's not just what you eat. I mean, it's there's all these things kind of intertwined.
Totally.
So beauty is not just beauty.
And there's inner beauty.
Exactly, there
Yeah.
is. And that leads us to our very last thing to celebrate today. It is Say Hi Day.
Hi.
So just
Hi.
that simple
Hi.
word can be so welcoming to folks, or can help cut through tension.
Yeah.
Just having a stranger say hi to you.
Thought it was funny. One of my favorite people to follow on Instagram, her name's Cindy Spiegel. She wrote a book called Micro Joys, and she's just a delight. But anyway, she posted recently a reel on Instagram of like, people want you to say hi to them when you're like walking around and on the street. And it was such a sweet video, but it was so funny because all these New Yorkers were like, no, we don't. We don't want
Right. Well, exactly. You know, growing
Yeah.
up in the Midwest, it was kind of like, of course, you'd say hi, or as you're driving by, you just nod to drivers going
Yeah.
by and everything else. And then moving to New York, where all that was.
Well, that was one of our favorite things about when we did our trip to Canada 2 years ago. It was like everyone, hi, you know, like you're out on a walk, you're at the grocery store, in the parking lot, like people just say hello, and it's
Oh yeah,
lovely.
but in New York, it's like you get like dagger to say hi. It's like you quickly learn not to.
Yes, yeah.
So.
That's how I felt in Greece too. Like they
Ah.
do not talk to me. Yeah. But anyway, go say hi. We're not in New York. We're in Arizona. You can say hello.
Exactly. Say so hello, say hi, just introduce yourself.
Tony from Local Buzz is really great like that. Tony, if you don't know him, you haven't met him yet, doesn't matter. He'll say hello to you, hug you like he's known you forever.
Exactly. You soon will. So just be on the lookout.
He's coming.
All right. So any events coming up that we could say hi at?
Well, our friends from Rogue Dance Productions actually sent this in.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. So they are holding a fundraising event called Renaissance Gone Rogue. It's a gala at the Ashley Manor Castle in Chandler at 6 p.m. So you can get ready to be a part of something extraordinary with the dance production. It's an event like no other, and they absolutely want everybody to be there. They're going to have live performances, a royal feast, and a silent auction. Every registration to this event brings them closer to achieving their mission to promote literacy within the community with the art of dance theater. So they're inviting everyone to wear your best glam red or gold royal outfit to shine on the red carpet and enjoy dinner and silent auction items available. And so they're actually kind of at risk right now of being able to continue what they do. It's a really incredible, masterful way that they tell stories through dance and performance and live theater. It's really, really impressive. So if you have the ability to go, I definitely invite you to join in for that fundraising event. It is $75 and it's from 6 to 9 p.m. at Ashley Manor. We've also got some trivia.
Oh my gosh.
That's right.
Is it specialized trivia or
it's
just general?
It's Transformers trivia, so I'm guessing you wouldn't do well at this trivia night. It is in Chandler at the Sugar Bar Craft. So Autobots, roll out. You are invited to come on in and, you know, whether you're a casual Transformers fan or a major Bumblebee fan, this is the night for you to shine. There is no cover. It's at 7 p.m. and it is a 21 plus event. So there you have that. And June is Pride Month. I know we haven't talked a whole lot about it. We kind of just celebrate it every day, but it is the official Pride Month. So there is Phoenix Pride Prom happening at Charlie's at 8 p.m. It is basically you're joining the reigning Miss and Mr. Phoenix Pride 2025, Rita De Mornay and Helly A.B. Valdez, for a night of glamour, pride, and celebration, all in support of the Phoenix Pride Scholarship Program. You can compete yourself to be a prom royal, strut the runway in a competition, enter to win some raffle prizes, and enjoy a dazzling evening of community and fun. So tickets are $15. That does include a prom photo, digital, not printed out, a drink ticket, 5 raffle tickets, and entry to the prom events. And again, this is also a 21 plus event. So there you have that. We've also got Coco Jones' Why Not More tour happening at the Van Buren in Phoenix at 8. From Disney Channel to R&B scene, come see a legend in the making at the Van Buren, performing songs from her new album Why Not More, as well as her past songs including Crazy For Me. This will be a show you will not want to miss. This is a 13 plus event at the Van Buren. Tickets start around $48, and again, that kicks off at 8 p.m. tonight.
And I just love you said 13 plus.
I know.
And so if everything's 21.
13!
Exactly.
There you go. It's for you. Yeah. Okay, and this one actually sounds really fun, and I do have macrame in my house, especially plant holders. So macrame wall hanging workshop is happening at Sunshine Craft Co. in Phoenix at 6 p.m. It's a full 2-hour lesson, and you can learn the art of macrame. It's a meditative craft where you work some few foundational knots over and over again to create some stunning patterns and pieces. You can learn the basic knots, learn how to read a pattern, and complete your very own wall hanging to bring home. They are promising that you will be amazed at how gorgeous you can create something in just 2 hours of not knowing how to do this. So tickets are $55, and it's from 6 to 8 p.m. Again, that's at Sunshine Craft Co. in Phoenix.
Very cool.
I'm not gonna lie, I think I'd rather just buy my macrame, but.
Do they allow drinking while you're making macrame? Like I
You
said,
sneak it in a flask.
well, I guess it might not work well with train to be repetitive and
And precise.
yeah. So
Well,
never mind.
you try that at home later. Once you learn, maybe then you can have your own drinking and macrame party. Actually, that sounds fun. I would do that.
See, well,
Okay.
that's what I was thinking. I would say
Inspiration.
exactly goals.
Yeah. All right, well, we are going to wrap up our episode for today. If you, like Rogue Dance Productions just did, would like to send in events or things to highlight, somebody you want to shout out and give a little love to, you can contact us at
hello@onthemorningshow.com. Wait a minute, no. hello@onthemorningshow.com.
There you go. .com. You're right.
Yeah, okay. And then, or Instagram is
On the Morning Show.
On the Morning Show.
Yeah.
And every time an email comes through from one of you, our producer Ann does a little dance.
She's doing one right now.
Yeah.
Because she's so
Ooh,
excited in anticipation.
Maybe there was an email. Maybe it was an anticipation of an email.
Yep.
So send away, my friends.
All right.
And
Thank
you know,
you.
in honor of Say Hi Day, as we say goodbye, I just want to say hi, friend. There
Felt
you go.
so Mr. Rogers.
Exactly.
Hello, everybody. It's
It-
mighty nice to meet you. Okay, that's from Disneyland, the Golden Horseshoe Cafe. All right, hello, goodbye, mahalo, all of the fabulous things. We will see you right back here in just a bit for a brand new episode, a brand new guest. So don't go away for long.